so much, everyone, for taking a Saturday to come here and be with other like-minded people who want to make a difference in our communities. This is our third and final training. It's really been a build-up to this. Our first one was about a month ago in Ocean County with WHYY, where we focused on traditional news reporting and news gathering. We had one 2 weeks ago at Monmouth University that focused on how do you go online and report your own news. And then this third one is really about looking forward. How can we create a system to communicate what's happening after Sandy? So it's really exciting to be here today. And I thank all of you. And a lot of you this is your third time here, so thank you. For today's program and throughout the whole building, we do have Wi-Fi, so this is the login information. It's also in your programs. If you tweet today about your sessions and what you learn, use NJ Sandy to communicate with others. I also want to note that this event couldn't be made possible without support from the New Jersey Recovery Fund, which supports initiatives to engage local residents in community building and improving the access to quality information about the recovery and the rebuilding process. We also have all these awesome co-sponsors as well: Jersey Shore Hurricane News, Creative New Jersey, NJ Spotlight, Middlesex County College, Clean Ocean Action, and this really, a lot of you are here today because these groups help get the word out. So thank you so much to our wonderful co-sponsors. Now I'd like to introduce our first speaker, Harry Pozicki. He's the chairman of the Citizens Campaign. But really he's here today because 15 years ago, him and his wife had this crazy dream that they could empower citizens to make a difference in their community. Having a career in politics and government, serving at the local, county, and state level, Harry saw from the inside that citizens really can have a voice and make a difference. And even now, after Sandy, he's a resident of Perth Amboy, where they were hit pretty hard. You know, ships were crashing into the bay. The land is eroding into the bay. So he's having the same questions and conversations that all of you are in your hometowns. And I would like everyone to please give a warm welcome to Harry Pozicki.
I want to thank Heather and her team for putting this together. This is wonderful. And I just can't tell you how excited I am to be here with a community of concerned citizens like yourself. You know, if resiliency is the byword of Sandy and the storms that we're experiencing, you are the resiliency of New Jersey. And I appreciate you being here today. You know, we founded the Citizens Campaign. Heather said my wife and I. It was really my wife decided that I was going to do this work. And, yeah. And she realized a long time ago that citizen power was on the decline. And it's been declining more and more steeply. So over the years, we've been trying to build the kind of educational resources and expert support that gives citizens the ability to take back some of that power. And one of the areas in which the power has been in steepest decline is in the Fourth Estate. And Heather was the one who first recognized this. She'd attend a lot of local meetings on behalf of the Citizens Campaign, and where there were 3 reporters, there were then 2, and where there were 2, there was 1, and where there was 1, there was none. And so this is a very serious problem when there's no media out there, no news to amplify citizens' voices, to hold officials accountable, to make sure the necessary information is shared. And this is a most acute problem in the context of Hurricane Sandy and the storms that climate change is visiting upon us. So we need to do something. We need to be able to build up, and that's what this conference is about, and you'll hear from some great speakers today in that account. You know, there are a lot of decisions that are going to need to be made and are being made even as we speak. In my own city of Perth Amboy, Tracy and I have been witnessing this, the decisions as to where the aid goes, what type of storm resiliency infrastructure needs to be built. What kind of an emergency response team expansion can we create without breaking the budget of our local communities? And what kind of communication systems do we need? This needs to be discussed, explored, and developed by informed citizens as yourself, and shared with the community and shared with the elected officials who have to make these decisions. But I'll tell you, there's one individual, and it's the individual I'm about to introduce, who really took this to heart and has been the juggernaut of citizen journalism and news reporting in the context of Sandy. His name is Justin Ausiello. I just found out that his father and I are friends going back, and it was a pleasure to meet him for the first time this morning. Justin, for those who you don't know his name, you may know the Jersey Shore Hurricane News. That's what Justin founded. And Jersey Shore Hurricane News has really not only made a name for itself, it's made an impact in New Jersey. Justin's not a journalist by trade. He's a town planner, urban planner, excuse me, spends his evenings at planning board meetings and so on. But somehow his love of social media and his love of the Jersey Shore came together to form the perfect storm that gave us the Jersey Shore Hurricane News. He started the Jersey Shore Hurricane News in 2011 just as a Facebook page. Since then, it's grown to over 200,000 followers. It's so popular that during Sandy, the New Jersey Office of Emergency Management, when it found its 911 number overwhelmed, turned to Justin to spread the news. And it's for this service that he was rightly recognized by the White House as a champion of change. So no need to hesitate any further. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Justin Ausiello.
Thank you so much. My name is Justin Ausiello. I just want to thank Heather and the whole team from the Citizens Campaign and that warm welcome earlier. So just briefly, I mean, we're really here ultimately because of this device. We wouldn't be here just a few years ago. This simple device has really changed the world. And really, but this is meaningless without all of you, okay? Just going back 10 years ago, there weren't many publishers out there, right? Now, everyone that has access to the internet is now a publisher. Everyone is part of the process of reporting news, and it's not just news. It can be anything going on in your community. So we really now all do have the power in our hands. And so really, it just boils down to muscle, to power. The internet has democratized the whole landscape. Just a bit about me. I'm 33 years old. I got on the internet in 1992, prior to the first web browser. So I was on there back when it was just all text-based. And I started to realize that I can communicate with people from around the world. I said, how cool is that? That I can be sitting in front of my computer and I can be speaking with people. And I started to realize that this was really going to change the world. Obviously, I could not have envisioned as a 12-year-old what was going to happen in the coming years. But I knew that the world was changing. So really, I got into social media very early. I'm an early adopter. But when I got on Twitter in 2007, I then saw that there are these people just like me who are reporting incidents going on all around them. One of the first examples was the plane crash in the Hudson. We saw a photo of that within minutes, and that got, of course, retweeted all throughout the world. And regular people started scooping news media. I mean, who would have thought that would happen? Who would have thought the power that's held by the wire services, the New York Times, Star Ledger, et cetera, was starting to change and erode. So I don't really have any formal experience in journalism, but I did grow up in a household with 2 daily newspapers, with three weekly news magazines. We would always talk about current events at the dinner table. And my father's an attorney, so I was always afraid to make any mistakes and get in trouble. So that kind of really informed my kind of ethical background. And even though I wasn't trained in how to you know, fact check and all of that stuff that a good journalist should do, it was just kind of already in my mind. So how did this come about? Now this came about because really from Twitter. My years on Twitter, I started to report, be a citizen journalist in my own community, talking about, you know, incidents going on around me, car accidents, fires, et cetera. No one was really probably listening. And I was just, tweeting it out to the world. Then I started to write about new media, and I started to analyze the trends in media. So when Irene came about, I said, wow, this is a great opportunity now to create something and to harness and leverage the power of Facebook, because ultimately that's where everyone's at. I said, well, there are all these people in my community that are spreading all these crazy rumors, and they need, not only do they need information, accurate, reliable, timely information, but I want them to be active in the process. I want this to be a two-way outlet where people can report from the bottom, and there can be, the top-down aspect, not just me going out to get the news, but also me serving as the editor. And let me tell you, it was just phenomenal. I developed all of these sources within 4 days. There were 25,000 people on this Facebook page, and I had 25,000 sources. I mean, it was just, to me, I was like blown away. So after that, JSHN evolved to kind of real-time news traffic and weather. I had this platform, and I wanted to create this. I wanted to continue this. I wanted to, the power, have people really bought into it. People started saying, well, this is going on here. And then I would check with other sources, fact check, and then I would develop stories. So Sandy comes along, right? Sandy comes along, and this is like, geez, I have a monumental challenge on my hands. People, it's starting to, in the days before, was reporting on it, and people were saying, well, this is all hype, this is nonsense, it's not going to happen. And then when people started to realize it was going to happen, it's like, I'm not going to be sleeping for a while now. I have a big responsibility in my hands. And people were receptive. I mean, this was October 29th, about 7 hours before landfall. I was basically live blogging everything, and Christie was speaking, and he was basically saying, get the hell out of the Barrier Islands. He didn't use hell, but he actually had used that with Irene, as everyone knows. And I got it out there, and some people wrote to me, like, thank God, because my father saw that and he left. So again, this is the power. This is where everyone's at. This is where the information flows. This was an example of harnessing the power of social media to essentially get people rescued. People were trapped. They were texting me. My number was there. They were saying, I need help. And I'm like, you need to call 911. I can't help you. I can't get through to 911. I said, all right, let me create this reporting thread where you can put your information out there. New Jersey OEM was monitoring. They were saying, okay, there was, one person wrote, we're in Seaside Heights. OEM writes, well, Seaside Heights PD has been advised. So really, that's where it is. People, because they had this, people had the power, they were able to get the help that they needed. So, ultimately, another example, where can we find ATMs, gas, food, ice, generator supplies, et cetera? This was crowdsourced. People were helping each other. Shelter needs, and this, of course, gets shared. So essentially, you have the power. It's right there in your hand. So, of course, local governments and local agencies started to see how useful this was. And they came on Facebook as well. Brick Township, this is something just day-to-day, public work collections tomorrow. There will be no public works tomorrow. Howell, the other night, there was a police search going on in Howell. And they put it out there on Facebook, and people shared it. So people were informed. South Orange, a rescue squad, mayor's here. They tweet out incidents that's going on around them. That's happening in their town. So ultimately, this is all news, right? And maybe you're not really interested in kind of hard news, but you can report on anything. You can blog about anything. This is a blogger down in Ocean Grove. He's actually a retired doctor, and he does a phenomenal job in discussing issues in his community, and he's got a large following. Yeah, this is something you're going to learn today, how to set up a blog. You can do this in your community. It's not hard. You just have to be willing to put in the time. And you know, this begs the question, well, if media has been democratized to such extent, well, do we need old media? Well, of course we need old media. You know, we're all not, you know, everyone here has not gone through journalism training, doesn't have years of that training. But that doesn't mean that you're no less important. You are monumentally important. New media, old media obviously is going to be around forever. Times are changing, but we do need those reporters, and we do need those publications, especially for the biggest issues like corruption in this state. You also have the power to uncover corruption, and you're going to learn that today in one of the classes. And that's a good segue into Oprah forms, Oprah request forms. You're going to learn how, through the process of you're trying to investigate something in your municipality, you're going to learn about the Oprah process and how important this is and how much power you have with this form. You're going to learn about data mapping. This is a stop and frisk map, WNYC. As you know, stop and frisk is a topic of conversation, big topic of conversation today, especially. This is a map from NJ Spotlight to show where the damage was from Superstorm Sandy. And obviously, darker the color is, that's where more damage was. So that's pretty much it. I just want to reemphasize that you're all empowered. You know, don't be afraid of this device. This is giving you the keys to everything. So have a good day and go do it. Thank you.